I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 84, Body Harvest. Released in 1998, this game was developed by DMA Design and published by Midway. So this is a pretty well-known game, and although I'd never played it, I had heard of it pretty recently. I watched an interesting video about the history of Grand Theft Auto, and this game was talked about quite a lot. The devs of the GTA series made this before then. I think as you watch this video, you'll see a lot of similarities to GTA in this game. If you've been looking forward to this one, then strap in, because this is quite a ride. The game offers a single-player story mode, so that's what we will be doing to beat this game. Before starting, the lore of the game is displayed. The year is 2016, and the Earth is in ruins. Oh, it's funny. Over the past 100 years, an alien invasion has harvested humans to the brink of extinction. In a space station above Earth, they have a plan to stop this. There is a time travel device they plan to use to stop the aliens at key moments in the past. They've been preparing genetically enhanced soldiers to take on the mission, but time is up. The aliens are back, and they're hungry. Then it shows this long cutscene with the main character suiting up in this orange armor. Honestly, it looks a lot like an N64 model for Samus. I bet this could have started some rumors on the playground back in the day. Essentially, the aliens invade the space station and we narrowly escape on what I presume to be the ship with the time machine inside. When starting up the story mode, it asks what difficulty you want to play on. The choices are easy or hero, and thankfully, it's on easy by default. The game opens showing the spaceship landing and our character coming out. Apparently his name is Adam. Then we get a message from a woman named Daisy telling us to find out what's going on. This first part of the game takes place in Greece, post-World War I. Not really sure what to do, I just walked around a bit. I saw a truck nearby and hopped in. You can drive all kinds of different vehicles throughout the game. Just after getting in, I received a message from Daisy saying there was an energy surge nearby. Then massive green aliens appeared, so I just shot them like crazy till they all died. When you kill aliens, they blow up in a huge explosion. It's a pretty cool effect, honestly. There's a lot of buildings around and some of them can be entered. I went in the one where I spawned and there was this dude inside. Talking to him, he said I must have been sent here to save them and he'll let me cross his bridge. So I got back in the truck and drove off over the river. A bit past the bridge there was another big horde of aliens, even more this time around. Essentially, as you're moving around the world in Body Harvest, you may sometimes run into hordes of these aliens. Sometimes areas are guaranteed to have them, but other times you'll just randomly stumble upon them. Or if you're unlucky, they'll even stumble upon you. The pistol you spawn with has infinite ammo for dealing with them, but there are more powerful weapons you can obtain later on. Some vehicles even have special weapons when driving them too. I made my way up a mountain and found a mine shaft somewhere along the side of it. Inside was a cave-like structure with a single chest. I opened it to find some dynamite. Sometimes the game will give you objectives you need to do after reaching certain places or obtaining certain key items. When you do, you can usually figure out where to go next via the map screen. Opening it reveals an enormous area to play in. It starts showing a green and purple flashing barrier around a part of the map. This is a wall that you can't pass until you've stopped the aliens in that area. Lore-wise, the aliens seal off a certain part of the world and harvest all the humans inside of it for 24 hours. While they're doing that, nobody can enter or exit. So we're trying to not let that happen, you know? But yeah, the world is huge, like real huge. And it's all loaded in while playing. An open world game of this scale just should not be possible on the N64, but DMA Design achieved it. Anyway, I used that dynamite to blow up a big boulder blocking a path I needed to go down. I got an objective saying someone was sending out a distress signal, so I went to investigate. There was some old guy named General Mackenzie sitting in a building who thanked us for getting rid of the boulder and said we could have the key to his hangar. Sometimes the aliens will cause havoc on the citizens of the area you're in, giving you a side mission to complete. In this instance, the village they attacked had all the houses become set on fire, and we gotta help them out. These missions aren't required, but it makes your job a lot easier if you do them. There's 2 meters in the bottom left of the UI. The top is your health, and the bottom is the chaos meter. As more and more people are killed by aliens, the chaos meter fills up. If it becomes full, the aliens will have completely taken over the area, and you have an immediate game over. So I went and found a fire truck and put a stop to all those fires. Next, I made my way to Mackenzie's hangar to see what it had for me. Inside was a huge tank, the Panzerkampfwagen. I don't know if I said that right. Now I had received the main objective, to destroy the processor and access the shield portal. This is what the aliens are using to create that barrier preventing people from entering or leaving. Equipped with General Mackenzie's finest tank, I made my way to the generator. The terrain was way different here, like it had been warped by the aliens, and they had a massive alien rooted in the ground. I was expecting like an insane boss fight, but the Panzerkampfwagen, it made quick work of it. You'd think they'd protect these things better, you know? Maybe they will later on. Once you destroy a shield generator, there's a screen that comes up showing your score and some stats on the mission. It's not really important at all unless you care about getting a high score, I guess. When you destroy a processor, Daisy will send a status beacon to you. This acts like a save point, and it's the only way you can save during a mission. So if you die during the processor fight, it's all the way back to the last one. For destroying the processor, it opens up a small hole in the shield allowing you to pass through. This opens even more of the map up to you, and man, it's crazy how big the world is. I ran into like a church or something next, and there was this creepy monk cult leader guy inside, and he said I should check their ancient library to get answers because he's got no clue what's going on. In the library there were a bunch of books on ancient god named Talosis and then some shield. These are hints about what needs to be done to progress later. Sometimes books like this give hints to progress, other times it's just random lore. Well, or maybe I just didn't realize that it was a hint. Soon after, I found a building outside with a sign saying passage is only granted to people who have permission from Talosis. So I went exploring a bit and found a cave with a big mirror shield inside. Using this, I pointed it at the statue of Talosis, lighting its torch. Once that happened, the passage underground was open. Random, but inside was a skeleton on the ground. You see these a lot in passages like this. If you use the action button on it, it makes you tickle it, and then you hear like a creepy laughing sound. Quit tickling the dead skeletons. Like, I have no idea why they put that in the game. There was a military base on the other side where I found a tank that locked on and killed all aliens in one hit. There's just so many cool vehicles in this game. It really shows some of that GTA influence with all the cars you get. The next processor was on an island, but it's inaccessible without a boat. Unlucky for us, the water to the island's blocked by a water gate. There was an old guy who said he could fix it if he had a cog, but someone took it. So off we go to get it. You may be wondering, hey, why do you need a boat to get to that island? Can't you just swim? Well, it turns out despite having space stations, time travel, and a bunch of fancy weapons, they can't make a suit that withstands water. You actually die from going in water very quickly, and swimming is super slow. So I had to get back to where I was. This time during an alien attack, a notification popped up saying a mutant was detected. These will appear if too many humans are harvested during a single attack. They're extremely dangerous. Like this one's bouncing around and it's like it's on a pogo stick. The worst thing is if it lands on you, you die instantly. I went exploring some more and found a military guy who let me use his howitzer. This thing is basically like a giant nuke, and it cleared these rocks that were blocking the path to the cog. There was a building with a windmill on it, and the guy inside said, "Keep our hands off his cog." Don't see why we can't just like tie him up or kill him for the greater good of humanity, but whatever. Instead, I went out and shot his windmill and broke it. The dude was super mad, but what's he gonna do about it? With the cog, I could get that other guy to fix the water gate. This gave me access to the next processor of the area. I used a boat to get over to the island, and there was another big gross alien thing. I figured, hey, just shoot it with the pistol, but it was hardly dealing any damage. I was kinda worried because I would have to dodge its attacks for so long to have a chance. But then I remembered I still had that mirror shield from before. I pulled it out and the boss died in like 2 seconds. Easy game. As soon as I passed through the next shield, there were so many aliens hanging around the area. The difficulty was starting to ramp up. Daisy told me the next processor was accessible with a nearby bridge to get right to it. So I took a car and drove towards it as fast as I could. Just before crossing, it played a cutscene showing a guy who sure looked a lot like me blowing the bridge up. Wonder what's going on with all that. Instead, I was directed to pass through a tunnel nearby. The way was blocked and there was some guy inside saying he searched for the missing rune piece to the door for years but never found it. There's a sign nearby saying it's been lost for centuries and only the 3 sisters of Atlantis know how to obtain it. The guy had a chest containing a crank, which I used in a different tunnel to cause what I presume is Atlantis to rise out of the water. However, as we know, it's way too dangerous to try to swim there, so I needed to find a boat. Some dude named Captain Punto, I believe, had a boat he let me use, and I went inside. You could say there was a sort of a puzzle in there. Really, all I did was just spam the action button on things until something happened. Turns out the torch on the wall wasn't a torch at all. It was a lever to open a secret door. Down in the bottom of Atlantis, I found the hidden runestone. I took it back to that guy at the tunnel and he was all mad. He was like, I searched my whole life for this and we found it right away. Whatever, dude, just get good. Since the bridge is a no-go, the only other option is to fly. Thankfully, there's an airfield nearby. Some pilot guy was tied up in a hangar and he said he'd teach us how to fly if we untied him. And then somehow he gets all these balloons set up which we can explode very aggressively using the plane. After his little tutorial, I was like, I'm the master of flying, I got this. So I took it into combat with some aliens.
No.
I quickly learned that wasn't the case, and I rammed into one, and yeah, I crashed. And even better, I crashed into water. And it was even better when I realized the water was completely surrounded by cliffs that couldn't be climbed. This means time to drown, all the way back to the last save point. After going through all that again, I got back into the plane and headed to the processor. It was easy to destroy, especially with the plane's gun. With that one down, I now had access to the main shield generator to free Greece from the aliens once and for all. The main shield generator is similar, but it's way bigger and there's a lot more aliens guarding it. And it shoots big missiles that shake the screen. Oh yeah, lots and lots of lag too. Still though, this one was real easy to take care of. I just kinda shot at it until its health went all the way down. It showed a cutscene where it blew up and I figured that was that. However, the time machine showed up and transformed into some battleship that looked like one of those round raft things you use at a water park. There was a massive alien boss that showed up and it was ready to fight. It looked like the giant green scorpion. It was wild because it whacks the ship and it causes you to fly through the air. It's just kind of chaos. Plus, there's projectiles coming constantly from both you and the boss. This boss brings out the craziest lag I've seen in quite some time. Amid all the lag and chaos, apparently my ship blew up. It's kind of funny because it doesn't kill you if it does. You're just standing there by yourself with this thing that's like 50 times bigger than you. Basically, if the ship blows up, you're screwed. Good luck trying to attack it with a pistol. I actually died a few times here. It's so chaotic and it's like impossible to understand even what's going on. In the end, just mashing buttons prevails. It shows like a cutscene where I guess we're traveling through time again, and our new objective is to stop the aliens in Java in the year 1941. Quick aside to talk about the graphics and music. I thought the graphics, they're about average. They're certainly not bad, but they also aren't anything to write home about, you know? I don't think this game needs to focus on graphics really though. The fact that there's so much in the game makes up for it. The music in the game though is quite unique. When you're wandering around the map, there's like unsettling music playing, almost like it should be used in a horror game. There's a lot of like unsettling piano being used. However, when you're inside a building, it's always very safe, like it's just pleasant music playing, so it's a big contrast when you're outside. I think they tried to just give you a feeling of comfort when you're indoors. And then when you're in battle, it plays intense music, as you might expect. Anyway, the idea in Java is the same. Aliens are invading and it's up to us to stop them. I walked around and found a small village with a bunch of buildings to go in. One of them had a man inside who believes we were sent from the sky to save him, so he gave us his hunting rifle. This is the first additional weapon I got in the playthrough. It has much longer range and way higher damage than the pistol. One problem I was having is the cable car connecting the islands was being obstructed by something. So I brought the hunting rifle over and shot it. Apparently there was an alien preventing it from moving. The way they designed this cable car is so weird. There's 2 buttons on it which make it move in whatever direction you'd like to go. Like, why is it not just running automatically? Who's gonna like stand on this button in real life? So next I found a machine gun along with a shotgun in a house on the other island. These would be very useful as the aliens were getting bigger and scarier. Like they've practically got rail guns that they're shooting at me. After helping a bunch of people and exploring the area, I learned about how there were 4 elemental temples in the area that'll be key to saving Java. I also gained access to an airboat. looks like one of those things you'd see on some swamp hunting show in Louisiana or something like that. This gave me safe passage over the water to the first processor. It looked quite different from the ones in Greece, but it was still very ugly and very gross. I thought it would be more difficult, but it just kind of sat there doing nothing, so I lit it up with the machine gun. The first thing they wanted me to do in the next area was gain access to the local military base. So I just kind of started wandering around and stumbled upon the Earth Temple at the top of a mountain. Some guy inside said this housed the legendary Java Crisp blade, and only the strongest warrior can use it. Well, where the heck is it? I don't see anything. This was the first spot in the game I was stuck, and I didn't really know what to do. That temple seemed like a complete dead end. After a half hour or so, I just went in the temple and mashed the action button like crazy. It turns out there was a fake wall on the right side with the crisp blade inside. I thought that was what I needed to do, but nope, still can't get in the military base. It was back to the drawing board. Sometime later, I noticed there was a cargo truck that made trips to and from the base to some building in the mountains. I figured, hey, maybe I need to follow this thing, and yeah, that is what you did. Not sure why they don't just not open the gate when they can see me directly behind the truck, but whatever. In the base, there was some general who made fun of my uniform and said I should take one of his tanks to deal with the invasion. Don't mind if I do, buddy. It's actually super advantageous to be in a vehicle as much as possible in this game. Not only do you not take damage, but you move way faster. This allows you to deal with alien attacks much more efficiently. So I borrowed a tank and rode off. I didn't really feel like waiting for that shipment guy to come back, so I just blew up the secure doors to the base. I'm sure they're cool with it. The place it wanted me to go was on the other side of a mountain, and there was a tunnel constructed to travel through it. However, the entrance was blocked by a big rock. I tried shooting it with a tank and throwing grenades at it, but nothing was working. I thought it was actually kind of cool what you had to do here. You have to throw a grenade into the eye at the top of the entrance and something inside explodes. I don't know, I thought that was kind of cool. Once on the other side of the mountain, I had a path to the next processor. So I found myself a military vehicle and drove over to it. This one was just as easy as the last one. There was one small problem though. Maybe you see it. Yeah, my chaos meter was over 1/3 of the way full this early on. There's no way to lower it, and remember, if it maxes out, you lose instantly. After that fight, the madness picked up even more. This dude in a house nearby said the volcano is angry, and he said angry in all caps. This cannot be good. The place I needed to go was blocked off by water, so in the boat I go. This was different though because the volcano was heating the water and the land nearby. If I took too long, the boat would take damage, and well, this part of the water was essentially a big maze. Part of the way through I got a cutscene showing a ton of people running for their lives from a burning building. Or maybe they're just now leaving a huge party and they're going over to the party boat and dancing. Either way, guess it's time to be the hero. They all scrambled onto the boat and Daisy told me it can't withstand the heat. So it's kind of like a timed mission to get them back to the other side safely. Needless to say, I didn't remember the path back through the maze and yeah, all those people died. It's not a game over if you don't make it, but it may as well be. The chaos meter goes up so much if you fail. Next time around, I got them all back safely. The guy from before thanked me for saving them and awarded me with a powerful weapon, the rocket launcher. So I made my way past the burning volcano chaos along another mountain range. Partway through, I was interrupted by a transmission from some alien boss or something. He says he remembers us from Greece and he's more prepared this time. Next thing I knew, there was like over 20 aliens in my face. Nothing I can't handle though. Or so I thought. This game has a very useless mechanic that is so frustrating. If you're aiming and press the button to change the camera, it causes you to do a dodge roll. I'm not sure how this is ever useful, like it barely moves at all, and it's so easy to do on accident. But yeah, I rolled off the ledge and died to the lava. God, this part of the game was so frustrating. If I died, I had to do that boat part all over again. I wish the game just let you save whenever you wanted. I think it would make it so much better. No! God. That's so frustrating, man. When I did get past that horde of enemies, I got hit with back-to-back harvester attacks. My chaos meter was going up so fast, not to mention how often I just died. I didn't know that was lava, man. die, man. Gosh. Finally, though, I got past all that stuff and found some guy who offered me use of his boat if I brought him the Idol of Rua Rua. Whatever the heck that was. Probably some priceless artifact to steal from a temple just for a single boat rental. Come on, man. I got so lost at this point. The only objective I was given was to find a way around Mount Rua Rua. And, well, it seemed like there was no way. The only thing I had to go on was a temple-looking thing at the top of a hill, but it didn't appear to have a way to go inside. Plus, every time I got near it, there was a harvester attack, so I had to immediately go tend to that. Finally, after what felt like 5 trillion years, I screwed up driving the tank and stumbled upon the entrance to the temple. Is this it? You have to just randomly decide to jump down or something, I guess? I don't know. Regardless, the Idol of Rua Rua was inside, so I could get that guy to lend me his boat. While I was sailing about, that alien guy sent another transmission saying we're a fool for opposing him and we should join him and get infinite power. You know, the whole evil villain spiel when they're worried. But I made it around Mount Rua Rua successfully and I could proceed to the next processor. There was some guy who said he had a torpedo boat we could use to help us, and he had swamp fever. He won't let us use it unless we give him a cure. Why don't people just let me save the human race? My god. The car I was driving around this area had a missile launcher on it, and yeah, don't use that near civilians. My chaos meter was nearly maxed out. I found a local witch who happened to have medicine for swamp fever laying around. She said I needed to visit the fire temple, but I'll never make it without a way to fly there. Whatever, lady. So I brought the potion back to the guy and gained access to his boat. Made my way to the processor, ready for an easy battle. This time though, it was a bit tougher. It had an energy pulse that would knock me back if I got close, and there were so many alien turrets around. I decided the best thing to do is just park the boat and blast it with the rocket launcher. It worked fantastic. I'd finally made it to a new save point, but man, that chaos meter was not looking good. I'll cut to the chase. This was essentially an unwinnable scenario. My chaos meter was up so fast going to the next area, and Daisy, she got mad at me. Things just started blowing up out of nowhere, and it felt like no matter how optimally I played here, the chaos meter was just impossible to deal with. I mean, I got myself into this scenario, but still. In the end, I knew what needed to be done. So I just started the Java scenario all over again. At least I knew what to do to get back to where I was this time around. When I did get back, the chaos meter was still pretty rough, but nowhere near as bad as before. Oh yeah, I had this really interesting soft lock with some boat-on-boat action. Kinda wish I was playing the PAL version. We'd be done fast. You are having a laugh, mate. You're having a laugh. What is this? Anyway, after getting back to that massive ship again, I went inside and talked to the captain. He said he wanted to go on a final mission and give it to those aliens. But he needs us to fix the engine room first. Our goal is to get into Blackness Harbor, and the aliens have built a barrier we can't pass through, so maybe this guy can help us out. Yep, this part again. Our chaos meter's much lower, so hopefully we can beat it. Oh, wow, yeah, that'll do the job. Once inside, I found a helicopter type thing. With this, I could safely reach the elemental temples and form the Java Chris knife. I got the knife handle in the water temple, the knife hilt in the fire temple, and I already had the blade from the earth temple as previously mentioned. I took the fully completed blade to the final elemental temple and jammed it into some stone. Yeah, now I've lost a priceless artifact. Good going, buddy. It showed some cutscene with lightning launching out of the top of the temple all crazy like. No idea what kind of witchcraft this was, but somehow now I could access the next processor. So I flew there and kicked the thing's butt. Dude. Oh wait, no, I got my own butt kicked. Oh my god, I died so many times in Java, and I had to replay things over and over again. Next time around though, I did the smart thing and stayed in the helicopter. Killed that processor, no problem. Finally, I had access to the shield generator itself. I took a more traditional approach with this thing and shot at it with a tank-a-punch. No idea what was actually happening because of the 10 trillion explosions on screen. Just like last time, Daisy sends the time machine thing in and transforms it into a battleship. Another gross-looking, gigantic alien shows up and, I don't know, this one also kinda looks like a scorpion, but I guess it's orange instead of green. Compared to the first boss, this one was a piece of cake. Although it got kind of annoying when I blew up the body and the claws were flying around all over the place. And with that, there were now 2 locations saved from the aliens, and then, yep, immediately on to the next one. We are traveling to the lovely America in the year 1966. I'll admit, it's a nice change of scenery when you go to a new area. The generic American location is all like you're in the middle of some big metropolitan area, and the inside of buildings is very office-like. Instead of opening chests to get loot, you open file cabinets. Along with that, the vehicles you get are different in each different area. The cars definitely have a more modern look like what you'd expect a car to look like. Even the aliens get different. The ones here are purple. And there's these big scorpion-like ones that start showing up here. My first objective was gain access to all main sections of the city. Gee, thanks for the help, game. The natural first place to check is the nearby sewer entrance. When you go down there, there's some guy who says he lost his map and he can't find the way around. And there's a sign saying the sewers are connected throughout the entire city. I found this room that was flooded, so I turned a crank and drained it. I came out somewhere completely different, so yeah, this is definitely the way to go. As I was walking around, a cutscene occurred showing a local school under attack, and there were a bunch of children running for their lives. I was told I needed to lure them to the nearby church for safety. There was a school bus parked directly outside, so it's obvious what to do, right? Just pick them up and drive them there. However, I did that and nothing was happening. Like, come on, that's definitely what you do here, right? Well, I'd be surprised if you guessed what you actually had to do here. Turns out there's an ice cream truck parked behind the school. If you get in it and try to shoot, it plays the ice cream truck music and the kids start chasing you.
This is so dumb.
So, yeah, you gotta lure them with the possibility of a treat to get away from certain death. Once I saved the kids, it said I could get to the first processor. I was having so much trouble reaching it though, like there were just walls blocking me from it, and the sewer definitely didn't lead there. Turns out I had to get in this red car that's really fast and just jump over the waterway blocking me from it. My first attempt, didn't go so hot. It took like half an hour to make this jump actually, because when you fail you're trapped and have to start the game all over. But I did end up getting across just fine. Daisy sent a message saying the processor was in the hospital grounds, but the bridge is broken. Guess I'll find some other way to get there. I jumped down in a ravine, found a monster truck that could drive on water, and made my way to the hospital. I was where the processor was supposed to be, but I didn't see it. I realized it was up on the roof, so I had to find a way up there. It seems obvious now watching this back, but at the time I didn't realize it. I had to go in the hospital and make my way to the roof using the stairs. I didn't think of this during the game because there had never been a time where a building had multiple entrances, but well, here we are. There was a helicopter on the roof, which isn't out of the ordinary for a hospital. However, this one had machine gun turrets on the front, which, yeah. Why does the hospital need that? Whatever, at least it helped me kill the processor and get my first save point, finally. I headed for the gap in the shield portal and I got a transmission from Daisy, but something was wrong. The signal was getting disrupted and I could barely tell what she was saying. Kinda weird. So I continued on and ran into some oil rig type place. My goal was just to head east through the mountains. One real nice thing about this area of the game is the mountain range limits where you can possibly go to. Combined with the helicopter not being able to fit through the gap in the shield, this caused this part of the game to be very linear. It was a nice change of pace after getting lost so many times in Java. I made it to another one of those oil towns, and this time I got a transmission from that evil dude that we've seen a few times. He decided to fight me himself this time, but I kind of lit him up. He teleports away at the last second and sends some big scorpions at me on the way out. In the next village, something new happened. Instead of aliens, there were these huge worm monster things that came up out of the ground. Looked straight out of the Tremors movie. After quite some time, I had reached the end of the line, a Native American village where Chief Peyote lived. I went to visit him and he was all like, "Hey, I see dirt on your shoes. That can only mean one thing. You desecrated sacred land." Not really sure how he came to that conclusion, but yeah, sure, I'll run with it. Now he's making us find an ancient totem for him. One piece is in his home, but the other two pieces have been lost for years. And from there, it's bye-bye linearity and hello wandering around looking where to go. I found the first piece of it in some abandoned mine shaft deep within the mountains. Not sure why it's in a treasure chest, but whatever. The other piece was in a chest in a different mine shaft. It was frustrating to look for because there's so many branching paths down there, as well as valves to raise and lower water levels. So I brought the completed totem back to the chief and he said it was time for me to go on a vision quest. Basically, it just plays a cutscene showing that one evil guy blowing up part of the mountain to sneak in the nearby military base. The processor seemed to be waiting inside. Going to the place he blew up, I found a tunnel that wasn't here before. There was a note inside saying this tunnel was a security risk and they should probably seal it, but guess they didn't do it. When I came out on the other side, I was finally inside the military base. But inside was the most shocking thing imaginable. I saw an alien UFO in there. I knew it. Aliens were real all along. Oh wait, this entire game has been about an alien invasion, so I guess we knew they were real already, huh? So I borrowed a military helicopter from the base and flew over to the next processor. Man, it just feels so amazing to take one of these things down because you get a new save point. Now that I was within the base itself, I had to find the main compound within the base. I went into this random house and there was this old prospector type guy. He was all like, "What in tarnation you doing here?" Then he talked about how he's seen and heard crazy things over at the military base. I don't know, this dude's crazy. I went in his basement and there was just some random things. But when I came back up, the prospector was replaced by a man in a suit. Definitely some secret agent. He said we'd better stay away from the base if we know what's good for us. Naturally, I didn't listen and went in anyway. I got a nice surprise when I did go in, and the next objective was just destroy the next processor. This was starting to go a lot quicker now, heck yeah. There was this massive building with tons of underground tunnels. There were so many bookshelves inside detailing how alien crafts landed here, and they're studying how they work and all this stuff. Some guy named Dr. Brown didn't want to work with the military, so they just killed him for some reason. There was a room deep within that had a bunch of aliens in tubes and on operating tables. All of the military members inside said they were not permitted to converse with civilians and they would ignore me. Even worse than all those aliens being operated on, there was a room that showed the moon landing was clearly faked. This just breaks me, man. How could they do that? Eventually, though, I got to a room where an alien was, and it was conscious. I tried talking to it, but no idea what it said. Another building had a translator lying in a chest. Went back to that alien and he said if we don't tell anyone that we saw him, he'll give us the access card he used to break out of his cell. I figured now I could get access anywhere, but when I tried, an alarm went off. Daisy said they thought I was being confused for an alien, so they sounded the alarm. Guess I need to show them that I do want to help. I helped in the only way I knew how. Got in a tank and kicked some alien butt. Now the guard apologized and said he didn't realize we were here to help and we have full access to the base. Well, that's what I thought. There was this other dude in a suit guarding this room and he said only authorized personnel can go in. I thought we had full access. He says if we help retrieve their stolen doomsday devices, we might be allowed in. Then he gives us access to a helicopter. With that, I had freedom to go anywhere, including the processor location. Third one down here. Before I could move on, that evil dude got on my radio again and said he activated the doomsday devices. Yeah, from what I read, these things are like nukes, but using alien energy for power, so probably not good. I only had 2.5 minutes to blow these things up, or I guess we'd all die anyway. Not sure how blowing them up myself prevents them from exploding their payload though. It doesn't give you any kind of indication where they are, and I didn't find them all in time. The planet blew up and I got game over. Thankfully, I'd literally just been at a save point. Next time around, I blew all of them up and the evil guy was livid. He said he's been toying with me, but I doubt it. He's probably just concerned that he's not strong enough to stop us. Now I went back to that suit guy and he said he trusts me enough to let me test drive one of the alien vehicles. I took this flying saucer over to the main shield generator and yeah, it absolutely annihilated it. You can just send out pulses of energy and they wreck everything in the area. As usual, Daisy sends the time machine thing back to use as a warship, but come on, I want to use the UFO. Oh well. The boss this time around is a flying alien thingy, I don't know, whatever it is. You have to destroy the arms, legs, and body of it. It sends out these spinning spiky wheel things to attack you. I just kinda shot at it like crazy as it wasn't dealing much damage to me, and if you kill the spinny things, they drop health. Time to go to the next area. This time it's Siberia in the year 1991. When I got there, the entire place was glowing green and Daisy said there was strange energy readings being given off. I drove in a bit and saw someone walking around like a zombie. What the heck, man? First aliens, now zombies? For the most part though, the zombies can be entirely ignored. They walk super slow and barely even hurt you. Doesn't mean there aren't still a heck ton of aliens around though. Those are always lurking around. Further into town, I found a railroad with a sketchy looking train on the tracks. Some guy in the station said he was glad the military sent someone to help, but the train can't be moved if we don't have the starting handle. Guess we gotta go find it while you just stand there, huh? The one problem with the zombies is you can't kill them, even if you try. The solution is I found a farmer who said we should use his combine harvester to run them all over. So I got in and started driving around. Finally, after over 16 hours of gameplay, I got to harvest some bodies. I was just on cloud 9 at this point. Like, that's the name of the game, and I finally get to do it. Oh, it was so cool. But I accidentally drove the harvester into the water, and yeah, it instantly blew up. And to my luck, I also blew up near some new type of aliens. These things fly around real fast, and the damage they deal to you is insane. I died basically instantly, and that was that. Love repeating the same stuff all over again in this game. In that area with the scary aliens, there was a building where some guy was injured on the ground. He said he used to drive the train around, but he got sick from some unknown gas. He hid the starting lever in his basement behind a fake wall. After getting it, Daisy sent me a message saying the source of the energy was a factory to the north. So, time to go there. Back to the train I went and there was an avalanche blocking the tracks. Good thing this train just obliterates avalanches, right? Basically, I just drove the train all the way north while tons of aliens were spawning trying to blow it up. Luckily, I made it with a small amount of health left. I reached the factory and found a building with a sign saying it housed dangerous chemicals. A book said Professor Tronsk worked here and earned the Nobel Prize for his work in transmugenic gases. Upstairs was the man himself, but he was distraught. He said some guy wearing black altered the formula, causing it to turn everyone into zombies. When I left, it showed a cutscene with someone else driving the train. They rammed it into the alien's shield and it blew up, sending the gas everywhere. There was an insane amount of aliens that spawned immediately after it too. After dealing with that, I had access to the next processor, but it was on an island. Can't exactly swim there, you know? Some guy in the basement of another building was complaining or something, and he said we should take his hovercraft to avenge everyone. I don't even know what this thing is supposed to be. Like, it looks like it's half of a submarine or something. No matter what it was, it did a good job getting me to the processor so I could kick its butt. Next, Daisy said she was detecting high neutron emissions in the northwest corner, so gotta head all the way there. I went that way and ended up at the Pelosk research base. There was a book saying things are normal here and reports of missing persons are wildly exaggerated. Then I entered a room and there was some dude on the table with like insect legs coming out of his sides. Apparently this guy named Dr. Legapov runs the place. The guy's freaking out and says we can get the access card in the chest next to him. When I left, it showed a cutscene where the entire facility blew up. Maybe some sort of self-destruct safety feature? I don't know. But then a massive green alien came charging at me. I think it might have been that guy from the lab. I figured it was like any other one, but it was so strong and it killed me in 2 hits. The next time around I was smarter and killed it from the hovercraft instead. Now there was this iceberg blocking the path that I blew up with a rocket launcher. This led to the next area of the base where I found a book talking about how all the mentions of weird mutated humans are perpetuated by capitalist propaganda. You know, I'm starting to think this Dr. Legapov guy started this whole alien mess in the first place. I found a nuclear reactor and headed inside. There was an engineer who said the reactor's melting down and I've got to destroy the 5 pump houses to stop it. He said I had minutes to do it, but when I went outside there was only 40 seconds. I had to take a bulldozer and run the buildings over, but for some reason the second one just wouldn't let me do it. It showed a cutscene with the reactor going up in a huge mushroom cloud, and now my chaos meter was really high. I'm not even sure if it's possible to prevent that. Maybe it is, like I only tried once, but I don't know, it felt like you didn't have enough time. Regardless, what's done is done, so I hopped into the half-submarine thing and made my way to the next processor, destroyed it with ease, and moved on. Surprisingly, the only thing I was given for the next objective was locate the hidden processor. Gee, game is giving less and less help the further in you get. I found this guy who was freaking out because there were explosives planted all around his oil rigs and his men were trapped there. As soon as I left, I had a little under 2 minutes to get in a helicopter and save these dudes. Yeah, sure, let's do it. Basically, you fly to an oil rig, land on the helipad, and wait for the person trapped there to slowly make their way on to ride with you. I made it to all 4 with plenty of time to spare, and then it showed a cutscene of them all exploding. I heard screaming though, and my chaos meter went up even more. Turns out there were multiple people on each oil rig, and I only got 1. Whoops. For helping that guy out, he asks us to use their prototype underwater vehicle to take on the aliens. Apparently the processor is hidden because it's underwater. This thing controls like any other car, just now you're in the water and have a lock-on missile launcher. It's also very, very slow. I ended up resetting to redo the oil rig part because I didn't like how high my chaos meter was, you know? It was on this next attempt that I learned the underwater vehicle doesn't have a lot of health. Yeah, if it blows up, you're guaranteed to die. By being a bit more careful next time, I made it to the processor and destroyed it. I had to head to the local military base next. There was a building with a radio operator who said he couldn't get any signals out for help through the alien barriers, so we should head north and tell his friend that he sent us. So I went and found his friend and he's all like, yeah, the aliens are blocking the radio signals, but he's got a plan to deal with it all. First, I need to clear the aliens from the area to the north. So I grabbed a tank and headed north, and man, there were so many aliens there. Usually killing the regular ones isn't so bad, but there's just so many and it's all the toughest ones. Past all that chaos, I found a Harrier jet. It was real fun to fly around in, and it absolutely wrecks aliens that you shoot with it. I also found a truck housing what appeared to be a nuke. I figured, oh right, he wants me to shoot this at the alien radio tower so they'll stop jamming the signal. But it wouldn't let me fire the missile for whatever reason. So I figured, hey, what happens if I shoot it to blow it up? And well, I don't know what I expected from that one. Yeah, back to the last save I go. I realized what was going on now though. I had to clear that path of all the chaos so I could drive the nuke back to the base and safely launch it. However, despite my best efforts, it seemed like there were always stray ones there to ruin my day. And every time I died, I went all the way back. Eventually, I did get it back and had to park it in this fenced-off area. I talked to the radio guy, but he said there was no power to launch it. So I went and cleared aliens off of the power generators. Man, I have to do everything for these people. Finally, I had all the pieces and the missile was launched. To my surprise, I had to control the missile myself. Thankfully, the controls weren't very janky, and I blasted the radio station on the first try. Now we could find the next processor. I guess it was being cloaked by radio waves or something like that. I brought that Harrier over and absolutely eviscerated it. This time, instead of getting a save point, it showed aliens attacking the command center where Daisy was. I had to get there fast, but I did make it. Now time for the main shield generator. A tank made quick work of it, and then it was the boss. It's like this flying insect thing with huge flappy wings. God. These boss fights are just pure chaos. It's impossible to tell what's going on. There's just way too many explosions. It took like 4 or 5 tries, but I took it down. Now, finally, it was time. Our final mission is on an alien comet in the year 2016. Time to put a stop to these aliens once and for all. I was real surprised with the start of this one. Instead of walking around like usual, I was in the time machine thing in battle mode. We were told our objective was to rescue Daisy. I didn't even realize she was in trouble, to be honest. My objective was just kill all aliens. So that's exactly what I did. I drove around murdering everything I saw. Could have accidentally caught Daisy in that crossfire, honestly. After a while, Daisy sent me a transmission and she was looking kinda rough. Aw crap, maybe I did shoot her. She said she escaped, but we're her only hope. I died a few times along the way, but I just kept killing dozens if not hundreds of aliens along the way. After quite some time, I made it to a gated area. Proceeding through the gate, I received a message from our evil friend. He said Daisy was still prisoner and now we would experience his wrath. Then some massive scorpion aliens showed up and they destroyed my frame rate. Like there's just an unheard of amount of explosions going on. After dealing with all that mess, I made it to a second gate. Here I was given a message saying there was a life signal rapidly fading coming from the alien city. It must be Daisy and she must be in trouble. Oh my god. It was getting real crazy here on the alien comet thing. There were some flying imp demons flying around. I thought the aliens were all insects, but these are a lot different. If you can't tell, essentially this entire mission is just driving around and kill everything you see as you get closer and closer to the city. Once I did reach the city, they told me to go to the heart of it, where I believe Daisy was. Finally though, something new happened. I passed through a gate and that evil guy said the hive mind has told him to kill us. Then he called us his brother. What the heck? Unless, he was saying like, brother, like Hulk Hogan or something. Anyway, he's flying around in a ship similar to ours, but it's a simple boss fight. I made quick work of him and he can't believe he lost, but he says he'll come back more powerful than ever. Whatever, dude. Finally, after this last obstacle, I found a building where I could walk inside. Daisy was being held prisoner in some crazy alien thing. It looks freaky. I got her out of there and she said the comet was on a collision course with the Earth. We've got to destroy the engines of the comet immediately. Why does a comet have engines anyway? There were these big vent things in the corners of the city. I just had to blow up the supports next to them to stop the comet. Somehow. When you destroy one, it goes up in a huge explosion, which it's pretty cool looking. After I blew up the final one, Daisy said we had to head to Central Command and take down the alien hive mind itself. This sure sounds like a final boss fight. Before I could get there, there was of course a guardian outside. This big, gross, alien nastiness. It blew me up instantly, but thankfully there's a lot of saves throughout the level. The next time I got there I was ready for it and kept my distance, and I beat it pretty easy. For whatever reason, Daisy, she was like, yeehaw, that was a close one, Flyboy. When did I get that nickname? What the heck? The hive mind was now vulnerable. I went in and there was a big green brain in a jar. It called me a foul meat creature, which, man, that's pretty messed up, come on. He said he'd have his revenge or whatever, all that nonsense. Then I did a roundhouse kick with impeccable form and showed him who's boss. The party was cut short though, as that evil dude came back and he was all like, leaving so soon? Apparently, because we killed the hive mind, he inherited all its power. Then it played a cutscene where he just violently transforms into some gross alien thing. It looked like something out of one of the Resident Evil games. This is it, the true final boss of Body Harvest. The fight itself, honestly, it's not too different from the other bosses of the game. It shoots lasers, shoots missiles, has a force field to knock you back, all that. Oh, and of course, tons of lag and explosions. I could barely tell what was going on half the fight, like my whole screen was just the color of fire. I took down his big alien body thing and he begged for mercy, saying he was cloned from a drop of our blood and it'd be like killing a piece of ourselves. Yeah, whatever buddy, I'm tired of this. So I shot him in the face and then Daisy and I escaped at the last second just as the comet was exploding. And then finally, the credits play. Game complete. When you finish, it gives you a congratulatory message and shows some stats like your completion time, number of optional artifacts you found, and number of humans harvested. I guess if you wanted, you could try to optimize those on successive playthroughs. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Body Harvest. And man, what a ridiculous journey it was. There's a lot of interesting history to this game, and I'd recommend looking into it. I thought the game was pretty solid, honestly. The fact that it's open world like this on the N64 still just blows my mind. There's a lot of different vehicles to use with tons of variety. The shooting's pretty solid and I really like the music. That being said, it's not without its issues. The shooting aliens gets quite repetitive with all the harvester waves showing up. It almost starts to feel like busy work. I thought the story was kinda bland too. They put in all these super serious things like the 4 elemental temples and forming this legendary blade, but it was just all underwhelming. I think they should have made things more practical for the story rather than trying to create some type of like mythical narrative or whatever, The biggest issue though was the fact that you can only save your game after destroying a processor. If this let you save whenever you wanted, it would be so much better to play. I have to imagine nearly a third of my playtime was spent redoing things I had already done after I died. Overall, it's pretty solid. I gave it a 7 out of 10 for enjoyability and an 8 out of 10 for difficulty. This one's pretty tough to beat. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a sneak peek at the next game. So we got 306 games on the list. Anything could be chosen. 3, 2, 1, go. 279. Oh man. We are playing the next Turok game, which is Turok Dinosaur Hunter. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. It helps the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.